All right, welcome back, everybody. We're live. It's been a minute. Let's get into it. Okay, folks, for the folks that are here, welcome. Thanks for joining me. I know it's been a minute since I've been live here, and I didn't put out the post that I was going to be doing a live stream until, I don't know, a few hours ago, maybe like 2 o'clock or something like that. So for anybody who shows up tonight on short notice, thank you very much. I'm going to try to get through this one. This may be a little bit shorter. I'm dealing with a little bit of a headache tonight. So, I figured what could be better to help with that than maybe some Stag Junior, some cast strength bangers. So tonight I've got 3 batches of Stag Junior. I'm always going to call it Stag Junior, by the way. I don't know how you guys feel about that. And it's been a while. I think Greg and I did this a couple years ago where we compared some batches, but I was thinking about it and I was trying to think of what am I going to do tonight? Because usually on live streams, I like to have some sort of thing that I'm kind of doing and then, get you guys' opinion on stuff like that. So I was thinking, it's like we always compare the ECBP batches and the Larceny batches, and probably because those are easier to get a hold of. But I haven't really done a Stag Junior batch comparison. So I've got batch 15 from quite a while ago. Courtesy of non-bike riding Dave Vogelsang, I have batch 18 here in a sample. And then courtesy of a hand delivery from Bourbon School, I've got batch 23C. So we'll get into these. Cheers, you guys in the chat. Dave Renstrom, what's happening? Dr. Robert in the house. Good to see you guys. Dave just sent me a killer sample pack, so I was going through those last night. And the non-bike riding Dave Vogelsang is here. Was thinking about going bike riding, but you're live interrupted. Well, I'm glad I could deliver you from temptation, Dave. So I've got, I just posted to the Patreon, I put the videos up a day early, and it's the from Dave Renstrom, Middle West Spirits Cast Strength Dark Pumpernickel Rye. And spoiler alert, it's amazing. And it was a Stuff and Whiskey pick. So look for that video to come out tomorrow. But thank you for that, Dave, because that was, like I said, it's a hell of a sample pack. So, yeah, let me know in the comment, anybody watching, if you know anything about Middle West Spirits. I do talk about it in that video. But that's one that I always see at the duty-free shop at Terminal 2 at the Minneapolis airport. And I don't ever see it anywhere else in Minnesota. And, Dave, you're from Minnesota. I don't know if you've ever seen it anywhere else. It's just I don't think they distribute here aside from the duty-free. And so I've always been tempted by it, but it's like $100, and I just really didn't know anything about the distillery. So it's kind of like, do you want to roll the dice on a $100 bottle from a distillery you know absolutely nothing about? And then I've put up a couple of bourbon hunting videos where that's in there, and people have commented, yeah, you should definitely try that. And so I've been tempted to buy one, but as I explained in the video, tomorrow also, I'd have to buy it at the Minneapolis airport when I'm leaving the country. And so then I'd have to have the bottle with me, and which is probably not a big deal, but I don't know. I've just never pulled the trigger on it, as they say. Jim Domeyer in the house. Good evening, everyone. Enjoying a pour of Cedar Ridge Double Oaked. Torup Hodel is in the house. Aaron Howard, cheers, everyone. Any Middle West are some of my faves. All right, awesome. Welcome, Aaron Howard. I don't know if you've been in the chat before, but welcome. Ryan Frank, you do a pretty damn good job on your YouTube page. I got to click the big bar that spanned from left to right to join on my iPad. Okay, I don't even know what that means, saying Skizzle, but I'll take your word for it. Let's see, what was Dave saying? Happy to share, already watched, great video and review, thank you. And commented with more info. It's actually a 4-grain. And no, never seen any bottles in Minnesota, only have the Stuff and Whiskey picks and 1 seal box pick. You can order their stuff from their website. Bike riding Brian Vaughn is in the house. Sugar Kitty's in the house. All right. So anyway, I was actually, thank you for saying it was a good review, Dave, because so I got back from a Europe trip a couple of days ago. And so before I left, typically when I go on vacation, I'll just pre-film and edit all the videos, and I'll put them on like a schedule. My thing here. I'm getting a little connection warning here. You guys let me know in the comments if I start to, if my connection goes bad. For whatever reason, my upload speed is kind of terrible tonight. So hopefully it's looking good out there. Anyway, so I was gone. So I made a few videos, put them on like a scheduled release so they would just come out at the normal time. But I've been in Europe, so I haven't been like connected, really much. And when I got back, I didn't have any content immediately, so I filmed a review just to at least get something for Monday. No, I did not go to the Vikings game, but I got to watch the Vikings game at 3:30 in the afternoon as opposed to 8:30, because whenever they play in Europe, it's on at 8:30 a.m. here, so we watched it from Spain. So anyway, I was like, okay, well, I got to get at least Monday's video out, and so I actually recorded a different video for Monday. And then my granddaughter came over, and she's got a cold right now. And so as soon as we spent a couple hours with her, I told my wife, I was like, I'm going to go film a few more videos just because I'm assuming that I'm going to end up sick next week or at the end of this week. So I wanted to get a few things out. Anyway, I tell you that just to tell you this, that like last night I was trying to film a few videos, and it was just a freaking disaster. It was like one thing after another was going wrong. My camera kept shutting off randomly for whatever reason. And yeah, it was just one of those nights where nothing was going right, but I wanted to get some stuff filmed in case I end up getting sick, which I'm almost guaranteed to, but I was not going to miss out on hanging out with my granddaughter. So I'll deal with the cold. Howdy, Ben from Eric Ellis. Howdy, chat. Good to see you. Aaron 1974. Aaron, I love that. Hello. Aaron, I don't know if I've seen you in the chat before. So anytime we see somebody new, that's awesome. Death sound from that chat. Let's see. Dave always wins. Is that who's up there somewhere? All right. So Canadian Chris, cheers. While you were gone, Minnesota became the 11th province. Oh boy. Well, Canadian Chris, I actually had a stopover in Montreal. And so I did go to the duty-free shops there. They had a very big duty-free shops. But man, you guys, all you Canadians that have been commenting on the videos, and I believe Canadian Chris is one of them, you guys aren't lying. There is no American whiskey up there. So I certainly hope, as much as I do like Canada, as much as I like to joke about them, I do like Canada, but I don't want to be the 11th province, just if nothing else for that reason. Bourbon School, what's happening? Cheers, Ben in the chat. Wish I could join, but the kid is home from college for fall break. That's totally understandable. Aaron, long-time creeper, first-time chatter. I love it, man. Good to see you in the chat. Tora Podol. Yes, I do have a granddaughter, and I have another granddaughter that's due in, what's the date here? It's just under a month. So we'll have 2 granddaughters here in just under a month. You're like 30. I appreciate that. I'm 47. I am still fairly young to have 2 grandkids, but I got started a little early. So I've got a 26-year-old daughter. So she and her husband are expanding their family. So that's very exciting. So, all right, let's get into this whiskey a little bit here. This is not a blind, by the way. This is just something, like I said, I like to do stuff like this on live streams just to kind of spark a little conversation about it. And then I'm trying to think of, I did have one story from my trip to tell you guys about. Let me get into that real quick. So if you guys saw the video that I did about the Members Mark 110 proof single barrel from Sam's Club, I ended up really liking it, actually. And I said in that video that I had this long flight coming up, and that since you're allowed to bring you can bring little mini bottles on the plane. I said I'd maybe bring a couple of those so I could have a decent whiskey on the plane. People did remind me in the comments that you're not actually allowed to drink your own whiskey. I do know that. So let's tell the story like this. We're gonna go O.J. Simpson style, the if I did it route. So let's just say if I were to have brought my own whiskey on the plane, and if I was planning to drink it, here's how I think this would have gone. So the reason I was planning on bringing something, hold on a second, Minnesota found stuff. Cold winter started at 11. Brian, Buffalo Bourbon Enthusiast, what's happening? So anyway, here's how I think this would have gone. I think I would have gotten onto the plane. I would have had my little sample bottles ready in my backpack. And what I would have been hoping to do is order a Canadian Club neat, because that's the only kind of whiskey they have on the plane. And for all of you that have never had Canadian Club, spoiler alert, it is garbage. It's just terrible. That's like, $12 for a big plastic jug whiskey. And typically, when we fly, when I order a whiskey, they'll just give me the mini bottle in a little cup. They don't pour it for me. But I guess it was a little fancier. We actually were in premium economy on this flight for the first time ever, which was nice. And so apparently in premium economy, they actually give you a real glass and they pour it for you. So my plan was I was just going to get the little mini bottle of Canadian Club and just switch it out for the other one, if I was to do this. I wasn't expecting the flight attendant to actually pour it. And so I was like, can I get a Canadian Club neat? And she pours a double, basically like an airplane bottle and a half, and hands it like, oh, thanks. And so now, if this had happened, I would have been stuck with this large pour of terrible Canadian Club that I had to do something with before I could actually switch it out with the whiskey I wanted to drink. And so, yeah, it was, so you love the oxymoron of premium economy. That is true. But yeah, it was just terrible. So I ended up having to drink it. But what I did is they passed out these little like seasoned pretzels. If you ever have a really terrible whiskey and you're in a situation where you have to drink it, eat some food with it, because if nothing else, it'll change the profile enough that it might make it tolerable. This made this tolerable is a strong word, but I was able to power through it. Ginger don't crack. If the bunghole does not fit, you must not sip. Doesn't fit, must not sip. Yeah, so it was, let's see, Canadian Club in my soda was my wife's grandfather's go-to drink. He's been gone for 10 years, and we still have a half a bottle in the cabinet. So you're not really drinking that much. Tracy Silly Yorkie, good to see you in the chat. Or if you're new, let me know. Welcome. All right. So yeah, that if I were to have done this, I would have had to drink the full Canadian Club before getting into the whiskey I wanted to get into. So I don't really know how much variance there is between batches of Stag Junior. I mean, I hear people talking a lot about particular batches being much better than others. But yeah, I think Greg and I did this like one time quite a while ago, and it was actually when I was coming off of a pretty mostly dry month, and I was getting back into whiskey with some cask strength bangers. So, all right, I'm gonna get into this first sip of whiskey of the day. Cheers, everybody! Thanks for being here. That batch 15 is so good. 131.1 proof. Oh, God, that's good. 131 proof on this one. And then this one was a little bit lower. This one's 125.9. Maybe I should have started with that. Stag in Oregon is extremely rare. Yeah, it's pretty much unheard of in Minnesota as well, Aaron. I hear it starting to show up more. Like Bobby says out in California, they're seeing it. And yeah, Brian was telling me that they're seeing it fairly often in New York. Brian, let me know in the comments if you're still seeing Stag Junior out there. Just tell them it's hand sanitizer. Then they see you drink the whole 2 ounce. Yeah, it was awful. The other reason I brought a couple of sample bottles with is because I kind of figured maybe that night after the long day of travel, we flew into Barcelona. And so after the long day of travel, by the time, was ready to wind down for the night, it might be nice to kind of just sit and have a nicer pour with. It wasn't anything expensive, but just nicer than trying to get find a liquor store in Barcelona that sells mini bottles, of like Jim Beam white label. So my nice bottle of whiskey, or my nice pour of whiskey, at the end of the night was me just drinking it literally straight from the sample bottle. See, I have a very old bottle of Canadian Club on the bar waiting to be opened. Not sure how I feel about trying it. Well, you'll never know. Pronounce it. Oh, Barcelona. I think it's actually, you're supposed to say Barcelona, like with the TH. But I don't know. We don't say that with our American accent, so Barcelona it is. So anyway, all right, yeah, so the first one is a banger. I'm going to raw dog these. I don't think I need to do water in between them because they're all the same brand. Let me know, do you guys have a favorite batch of Stag Junior? Because these are actually the only 3 I've had. These 2 bottles are mine. The samples from Non-Bike Riding Dave Vogel saying, and then Greg had a couple bottles too that he got from years ago that I've tried, but use a Canadian Club for cleaning brake parts. Well, the problem is it's only 80 proof, so you're not getting too much of a, it's not going to eat away too much of the grime. Casey Meyer, 22A. All right. I don't have any juniors, 22A. Okay. Try it with Mexican Coke to complete the nostalgia. Favorite Stag Junior is whichever one I'm in front of. Yeah, I got to agree with you on that, Torp Hodel, for sure. 15, 18, and 22A. So this 18 is a banger as well. Brian, can you let us know in the chat if you're still once in a while seeing Stag Junior out there? I have a glass 50 ml of Canadian Club rye. Had one already, and it's basically 50-year-old at 86 proof rye. Nice. I feel like lower proof whiskeys from back in the day may have been better. I don't know why. I don't think there's probably any science behind that. All right, let me get into this last one here. A little comparison. Whoops. I almost swallowed that one wrong. That would have been embarrassing. I'm going to have to redo that one. My tasting got interrupted. So one thing that was also fun from the trip, so my wife and I flew over there to do a Mediterranean cruise. And so we were on Royal Caribbean, and on their Oasis class ships, they have a new restaurant called the Mason Jar, and it's supposed to be like a Southern America, like Southern food. And so it's like all kind of country, themed and whatever, but it's very whiskey forward. And so they have a lot of whiskeys there that they don't have everywhere else in the ship. And they actually had E.H. Taylor and Eagle Rare. And I had the unlimited drink package, so I was just crushing as much E.H. Taylor as I want. Because say what you want about the, allocation and, overhyped or whatever. I do love E.H. Taylor small batch just as a regular pour. And so it was nice to be able to just literally drink as much as I wanted to. And I did. So, yeah, that was nice. Let's see. I think I saw Myron Bourbon Drop in the house. What's happening? By the way, go subscribe to all these channels. Bourbon Drop, Bourbon School, Buffalo Bourbon Enthusiasts. Any other channels in here that are watching, please don't be shy to promote yourself in the chat. Dr. Robert, Stag is findable in my part of New York. Okay, cool. So I'm kind of wondering, because I don't know what the age is on these. I think it's supposed to be 6 to 8. And it's basically just cast strength mash bill 1. So, maybe with this expansion that Buffalo Trace just did, maybe this will become, more available. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm really hoping for out of that whole expansion thing. I just want to see, the regular shelfers from Buffalo Trace, like the E.H. Taylor small batch and like the Stag Junior, Antique 107, stuff like that. How's my internet connection? Because I keep getting this warning. Am I glitching out there? Oh, man, these are all good, but I got to tell you, they do taste very similar. I'm not getting tons of it. Let's see. Reality of why no one else can get E.H. Taylor. There are 1,000 cases of my just to supply their ships. Well, I will say this, Sugar Kitty, that's a new thing. Like, that's a brand new thing. It's not available anywhere else on Royal Caribbean, so... They did say it's only, like, what you see on the shelf is what they have, but... By the time I went back to this restaurant like 2 days later, like the ones on the shelf were gone, and they said it was gone, but then I kept seeing one more bottle show up. So that is not a common thing, and it's only on certain ships in certain restaurants. So that just started I think they just unveiled this restaurant like a year ago or 2 years ago or something like that. My earpiece came out. God, every time I go to take a sip, it's just a disaster. It's like trying to film reviews last night. It was just awful. My reviews for the next couple weeks are going to be a bumbling mess, more so than they usually are. Also, this one's got a little more of a grape note to it than the other two. The food on Royal Caribbean was disappointing in 2013, so I haven't been back. I've had really good luck with the food. I think their buffet is pretty good. The main dining, I think, has always been, relatively good. But their specialty restaurants are really good. We didn't go to any of those. We mainly ate in the buffet this whole time just because we were out running around and just didn't have time or desire to go to the main dining room and sit for a while. So still got my okay. But if they have bottomless stag, I'll probably reconsider. Well, it was bottomless E.H. Taylor, but that's, again, it's only certain. I think there's only like 5 ships that have that. So this just happened to be one of them. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Also, I drank a Guinness. So yeah, I had the bottomless drink package. So I was like, I'll try some new things. And I've been getting a little more adventurous with beer. And I remember like back when I was like 21 years old, like Guinness was the first dark beer I ever tried. I didn't even know dark beer was a thing. I thought all beer looked like Bud Light. And so I tried it and it was just, way too aggressive. And then I tried it because I hadn't had it in so long. And I actually really, really liked it. And it was not nearly as aggressive. Like as far as beers go, it's not terribly aggressive. So I may have to start drinking Guinness, make myself look, I don't know, does that make me look classy? You do have a slow read comment section and then have the capability to see an instant answer to a question because I'll answer and 3 minutes later you'll be like, what? That's true. It's the nature of live streaming. I'll take COVID again for bottomless GTS. Yes, I would. I tend to get COVID when I go on vacation, so I'm just honestly waiting for that to happen. That's another reason why I wanted to get some more reviews filmed. First off, thermodynamics as it applies to E.H. Taylor. There's always one more bottle on Royal Caribbean. Well, there was this time, so yeah, it was pretty fun. So yeah, successful trip. I did do some mild bourbon hunting, but I wasn't really able to film much of it. I filmed a shelf like in one little store in Barcelona, but they had Buffalo Trace, but it was the European Buffalo Trace, which is 80 proof. And while I have no desire to really drink Buffalo Trace at 80 proof, I was considering buying it. It was like 35 euros. So it was like maybe, I don't know, whatever the conversion rate was. A few dollars more in American. But, so I was going to buy it, if nothing else, just to do a review of it, talk about it, maybe do like how does basic Buffalo Trace 80 proof compare to like basic offerings from other distilleries. But I didn't want to carry it around with me for the day, and I didn't know what we were doing for the rest of the day. It was our first day there, and we kind of, walked around the city. We got off the plane, went straight to the hotel, dropped off our bags, and did our day. And so I didn't end up going back and getting it, and I kind of regret that because it would have been fun just for a novelty, sample it out to people. Canadian Chris, please tell me you ate some poutine while in Montreal. Funny you should mention it. I absolutely ate poutine in Montreal, and it was delightful. But at 80 proof, you can kill that 2 days easy. Yeah. So, but I did go around the ship, and I've been meaning to do this my wife and I like to go on a lot of cruises, so I've been meaning to do this is just do little short reviews of like all the whiskeys, all the American whiskeys that they have. So I did do that. I put one of those out, and it was the E.H. Taylor. So I'll keep putting those out. I think I filmed like 12 of them. So yeah, I'll put those out in the coming, next couple weeks or whatever. But yeah, it was a good time. For being a European trip, while I was on the ship, it was a very whiskey-forward trip, American whiskey-forward trip. I finally got around to trying Jack Daniel's rye, just the regular Jack Daniel's Shelford $25 rye. And I had heard from people that one was kind of a sleeper, that like for the budget price, it's actually really good. And I'm inclined to agree. I think Jack Daniel's does a really good job with rye. Let's see, I hope, but I read this somewhere. Oh, is that the comment? Somebody said something about the new Stag Junior being hazmat. Yeah, supposedly going to be hazmat. Well, I have a feeling I will never have a chance to try one of those, so you have to go to Halifax for the best something French. Is it Donaire or Donier or I don't know. Yeah, these are all really good. I will tell you the thing that sucks about flying to Barcelona on Air Canada through Montreal is every single announcement they make on the plane is in 3 languages, which I totally understand. I support that. But it's annoying as hell when they're long announcements and then you have to wait for it to go 3 times every single announcement. Yeah, that was a lot. The Lebanese people will hunt you down for that remark. I got to tell you, this, maybe it's just my palate tonight, but this 23C is really putting up a fight for first place here. I'm just getting a little more sweet brown sugary off of that, and I like that. After that, English is the standard worldwide. Yeah, it actually is. At least in Europe it is, but... Oh, okay, I think I'm fairly well caught up here. But yeah, that definitely was a thing. It's like watching a movie or trying to sleep, and then all of a sudden the announcement comes on. Doner kebab. Doner came from doner kebab. Donor, basically Canadian version of a euro. Okay. Yeah, you guys did invent poutine, and that is just fantastic. My wife and I actually kind of make our own version of poutine, and what we do is we take, I don't know if this is blasphemy or not, but it's really good. You can call it something else. Make up a new name for it if you don't like this as poutine. It's not poutine, but it's a inspired by poutine. We didn't create this recipe, but you take tater tots, bake them up fully crispy, and then you make grill up or fry up some ground beef, and then you make some beef gravy, and then you mix that with the ground beef. So you've got ground beef and beef gravy, and then you cover that on top of the tater tots, and then the cheese on top of that, and it's so freaking good. So it's kind of poutine-ish. It's beef gravy, but then there's ground beef in it, and then the same kind of cheese, and then it's on tater tots, and it's amazing. Let me know in the comments if that is just awful to, kind of remake poutine. The wife and I make our own poutine. Did you really just say that? I did say it. That's a hot dish. Torap Hodel busting out Midwest nomenclature. I love it. But it's not really a hot dish, though, because it's not You just make it on a cookie sheet and you just scoop it up into a bowl or a plate or whatever. But so yeah, it's kind of poutine-ish because you've got the potato base, you've got the cheese, you've got the gravy, but it's got the ground beef in there. I think that's all that's in there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that goes in it, but yeah, tots better than fries. I don't know if I'd go better. I think there's an appropriate place for each one of them. Oh, Peter White and Canadian Chris have a Canadian conversation. Let's see. 6,000 bottles, only 2,000 released. Oh, is this about the, what are you guys talking about? Did I miss what you're talking about with the bottles? Is that the George T. Stagg? Because Canadian Chris, do you live in the U.S. now? I think I remember you saying you actually live in the U.S. So are you like 10 minutes from the, I don't know. Question. When Arby's Curly Tots, oh, it's a Canadian whiskey. Which one are you talking about? Is that the Doner or no, that's the Doner Kebab Canadian version of it. I'm so confused. It's like Canada has its own language, which they kind of do. Well, not their own, but they've got, French. Wiser's Legacy re-release. Okay, I'm sorry. I must have missed that in the comments when you guys were talking about that. So is that like JP Wiser's? Is that, am I thinking of the right thing? Because I know JP Wiser's has like a basic like bottom shelfer. But let's see. Alberta Premium Cask Strength is a solid rye. Absolutely it is. I haven't had an Alberta Premium in a while, a cask strength in a while, but I do remember when I did have that, it was so, I will say smooth, but I don't mean that in a bad way at all. It's just so easy to drink. The one I had was like 130 some proof, and it drank like 100 proofer, proof wise, but flavor wise, it drank every bit the 130. Like it was just really, really good, but it just didn't have the intense burn. So I said right away that that's a dangerous whiskey. That's one that'll get you into some trouble. All right, let me go through these one more time here. Yeah, that's really good. Maybe I was just really, really sweet on that last one. Last sip of this one, because I think the middle one's better. I think the 18 might have it by just a little bit. First time I ever saw an Alberta Premium bottle was an episode of Trailer Park Boys. Leahy chugged it from it with a fake label with his police uniform. I've never watched Trailer Park Boys, and I realize that that's a show I probably should. 2BD, we could not have had Mr. Leahy on this show live. Who's Mr. Leahy? Should I know that? He'd have taught us some shitstorm of great whiskey. Let's see. Somebody said something about a Mizunara finish. 27-year Mizunara cask ain't cheap, nor is the 40-year or 24-year. Yeah, I would imagine. He ran the trailer park. Okay. I actually, as part of the reviews that I filmed last night to come out over the next couple of weeks, another one from Dave Renstrom was let me grab it. It's a Found North. So this one is a Found North, South Lindale. That's a liquor store in Minnesota. Cask strength rye. Well, private cask rye. 53% rye, 45% corn, 2% barley. Blend of 10-year, 12-year, and 20-year rye, and 14-year and 16-year corn. Now, I said in the video that I was assuming that that was a blend with like corn whiskey. And I may be wrong about that. Dave, if you're still in the chat, let me know. Because it says private cask rye, but if it's blended with corn whiskey, because I know they do a lot of blending with weird stuff. And 14 and 16-year corn. So, yeah, I was confused by that. So I may have gotten that completely wrong. Do you ever get to the Rochester, Minnesota area? Typically, I like to stay the hell out of Rochester because anytime I've been there, it's been for a medical reason for somebody. So I actually may be there in the future for a medical thing for somebody, but nothing like life-threatening or anything. So why do you ask? Is there a store down there I should check out? A lot of shops there. Annie's Andy's off Broadway. South Broadway has good stuff and solid picks. Okay, thank you. Okay, that's how Found North makes their products, a blend of 100% rye and 100% corn whiskeys to get their final batch. Okay, good. I'm glad I didn't get that wrong because I always hate that when I find out something later that I completely botched in a video. There was a time when I would go back and re-record that, but now I'm just kind of like, everybody makes mistakes. I'll hear about it in the chat. Unless it's something egregious, I'll maybe go fix that. But, all right, I think I'm going... This one is, the 18 is the winner, just by a hair. And these two, I think the 15 is second place, this one's third place, but this one's not third place by much. And third place in this little flight is an amazing whiskey. So anyway, folks, we got to do the blend. I was right, by the way. This is helping my headache a little bit. Crossroads Shopping Center, Andy's Warehouse, the original one. Okay, sweet. I will take that into consideration if I'm down there. But I don't get down there recreationally. In Canada, that's generally the way the blending is done. They make the whiskeys of only one grain. Then the finished whiskeys are mixed to get the mash bill that they want. Okay, but then can you really call that a single cask rye? If you're blending it with... Because it's not, then a blend of two different whiskeys. So that's kind of weird. But I mean, it makes for a damn good whiskey. But I will say, so a lot of times now, I've said this before and I've explained this in videos, but the way I've been filming my reviews, a lot of them anyway, since Greg left the channel, when it was two of us, we would open up the bottle. We'd never had the whiskey before and we'd try it for the very first time on camera. And when I started doing the show by myself, I would still do that, and I still do that sometimes. But a lot of times now, I like to actually try the whiskey, kind of sit with it a little bit so I can kind of form some thoughts on it. Because back when it was Greg and me, we could kind of bounce, ideas off of each other and kind of, keep a conversation of it. Now when it's just me, I don't want to just sit there and try to figure it out all the time right on camera. Like I said, that was just always easier when there's somebody else has input, and you can kind of talk about it. It's like, oh yeah, I see your point. I'm getting that too, or whatever. And so a lot of times what I'll do is I'll sample the whiskey, and write down some notes. And then sometimes I'll write them down on a little whiteboard if there's something I want to remember to talk about, like if there's, stats about the whiskey that I don't want to forget or whatever. And I forget all the time anyway. But, when I'm doing these samples, I hadn't tried it. And, a lot of times I can do a review like that where it's just me. But I just like to, have a little bit better of a formed thought since it's just me talking to the camera. I don't want to, blab any more than I already do, which is a lot. But this one, I drank just right on camera. And I have never been more thrown for a loop on a flavor profile that I just could not pinpoint what was going on with this whiskey. And, yeah, it was really good, but it was just so different. Let's see. How is Greg doing these days? Greg is doing well. I actually just talked to him. Well, it was a couple weeks ago now, but yeah, he's doing well. I'm still waiting for the Wookiee Foot cover band. Yeah, we do have to do another live music show. I actually added a different setup, and I set up a whole bunch of equipment just solely for doing live music. So we're going to get that going here pretty soon, I think. So Hey, by the way, anybody in the Buffalo, Minnesota area, my friend Willie, who you've seen do live music on this channel, is playing at Hayes Public House at 6 o'clock this coming Saturday. So go down there and check it out. I will be in attendance checking it out. So yeah, just in case anybody besides Ryan Frank lives in the Buffalo area that's watching or wants to make a drive to come hear an awesome musician, come check it out. Hayes Public House, 6 p.m. this Saturday, whatever date that is. I'm not going to do math. So, all right, let's get into the blend. San Skizzle, are you going to be there? By the way, when I say San Skizzle, I'm talking to Ryan Frank. I don't know what it is, but I've said this in my videos. Lately, my blends, even when I'm blending 3 of the same whiskeys that are just different batches, they're turning out weird, and I don't know what that is. I literally cannot figure out why that is. Like, almost all of them lately have just been, like, the whiskeys are better on their own than the blend. I don't know why I have this stupid earpiece in. I have it in. I did throw the invite out to some people, see if anybody wanted to join. It was kind of last minute. Bad Axe Bourbon. Bobby is in the house. What's happening, Bobby? Let's see. Do we have the... There we go.
Whoa, yeah.
There's the Bobby sound effect. Good to see you, brother. Go subscribe to Bad Axe Bourbon. By the way, while I'm at it, I have to check with my wife, as any married man should know. Yeah, but your wife always is down for going out and hanging out and seeing some live music. So, yeah, well, I meant to mention this before. Tomorrow night, we are going live. Correct me if I'm wrong. We do have a show tomorrow, don't we? At the Whiskey 6. Folks, if you're not subscribed to the Whiskey 6, if you don't know what it is, we do it every couple Thursdays. It's me, Bad Axe Bourbon, Bourbon Drop, Bourbon School, Sean from Whiskey Wars / Mash and Metal. It's a great time. What did I leave out there? Did I get everybody? Yeah, I think so. I can't remember if I didn't say one or not. Every time I rattle off the names. Sorry, Ben, I'm watching like that. No, that's all right. I didn't even create this live stream until like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that. Did I not say Bourbon School? Okay, so me, Bad Axe Bourbon, Bourbon Drop, Bourbon School, Sean from Whiskey Wars / Mash and Metal. Oh, by the way, hold on a second. No conspiracy talk this time. I don't think that's going to happen, Eric Ellis. Anytime we've got Sean on a mic, you know where it's going. You should see what our text chat looks like. We've got a group text going, and it's just, it's entertaining, I will tell you that. So anyway, go check out, but you got to search for @TheWhiskey6 in YouTube. Otherwise, if you just type in The Whiskey 6, it's not a big enough channel where, that'll come up. It'll bring up other stuff. So yeah, our group chat is insane. I put my phone down for like an hour or two, and I will pick it up, and I will have missed like 60 chats, 60 comments. And as I always say, like half of them are all you guys liking each other's comments. But yeah, when I was on vacation, I was in airplane mode most of the time, and then I would get on shore, and it would be like, you have 200 messages. So I'm very behind on our group chat, which the group chat is where we discuss, among billions of other things, what's going to be coming up on the show. And so I have no idea what we're talking about on the show tomorrow. I don't even know. We are doing a show tomorrow, right, Myron? Bobby? I don't know if Brian is still in here, but I think it's tomorrow. Bad Axe, your connection to Minnesota is that you're the California Paul Bunyan in my eyes. The only thing that's missing is an ox. There you go, Bobby. The Californian Paul Bunyan. I love it. Sugar Kitty with the link. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So yeah, go check that out because what we do on that show is we talk a little bit of whiskey at the beginning, and then we just get into, it's kind of a chance to talk about, random stuff. And some of it does end up, conspiracy stuff. Some of it's current events. It doesn't get like blatantly political because, we all kind of have respectful conversations about stuff. But, if a political thing is a current event, sometimes we'll talk about it, but it's not just like one-sided, my side, your side politic bullshit. It's just a fun conversation about stuff that's going on. So, some of it gets heavy, some of it doesn't, but the show itself is always a good time, always a lot of laughs. And so, yeah, I look forward to it because I mainly look forward to hanging out with all you guys in the Whiskey Six and whoever our guest is. By the way, we always have a guest too. So, yeah, go check that out because it's a lot of fun and join us tomorrow. I wish I knew what we were talking about, but yes, Whiskey 6 tomorrow. Are we doing a new time frame? That's another thing I kind of missed because when you guys went on the night before I left for vacation, you guys did, I think, a half hour earlier than usual. We had talked about that. So let the chat know what time we're going on tomorrow, too. And I did mean to join that one, but I was on the phone with United Airlines and Air Canada for, and I'm not exaggerating this, 4 hours because they canceled my flight the night before my flight. So we originally had a flight from Minneapolis to Montreal, Montreal to Barcelona. They canceled the Minneapolis to Montreal flight the night before the flight. So now we're like, okay, what are we supposed to do? We need to get to Montreal. And then I had to sit on with them, and then they were going to send us to Chicago, and then from Chicago to Barcelona. But the flight didn't get in until nighttime, so it wiped out our whole day in Barcelona. And we had paid for premium economy seats, which is not something we always do. We just did it for the first time this time just because it's such a long flight. I've got a bad back and a knee problem. By the way, premium economy is not the business class little pods where you get, that's out of my price range. They don't allow people like me up into that cabin. But anyway, but then they didn't have any seats of that, and I was like, well, we paid for that, and, we don't want to lose our whole day in Barcelona, and that was all that was available, so we're like, fine, I guess we don't have a choice. And then I went online, and I looked for flights to Barcelona, and by the way, Air Canada was looking at, other airlines to put us on, because apparently they work with other airlines where they can put you on, they're going to put us on a Delta flight. So I went on there, and I looked up flights from Minneapolis to Montreal, and Sun Country, which is a kind of a local Minnesota-based airline, they had a direct flight in the morning for $105. So I was like, screw it, I'll pay the $105 and we'll just, get on our original flight. So I was like, well, before I do that, let's call Air Canada back and see if we can do that. So I called them back and I was like, hey, I can get myself to Montreal. Can I just get on that original Montreal to Barcelona flight that I paid for? And they're like, nope. You have to originate in Minneapolis on one of our partner airlines, which is the dumbest thing in the world because if I had gotten to Barcelona or to Montreal without being on one of their airlines, they would not let me get on the plane in Canada to go to Barcelona. It's like, we're all adults here, right? Like, you get that if I show up to the gate with my ticket, I'm here. Like, why can't I just get on your freaking flight? It was just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So then the lady tells us, well, I can actually get you on a flight from Minneapolis to Chicago, and then from Chicago to Montreal, and then you can get on the original Barcelona flight. It's like, why didn't you tell me that 2 hours ago? So then they booked me on that, but then we had to end up, that flight left at 6 o'clock in the morning. So we ended up having to leave my house at 3 o'clock in the morning, which meant our original Parking arrangement didn't work. We ended up having to just drive straight to the airport and park there. So that cost me $350. And then we got to Chicago, had to sit there for a couple hours, got on the plane. That flight's delayed for mechanical issues. The other one was canceled for mechanical issues. So we sat on the tarmac for longer than the flight was. So by the time we took off, we were supposed to have already have landed. And it was just a disastrous long day of traveling. But the flight from Montreal to Barcelona went well. So that's, and we got there on time, and we ended up having a great time. But yeah, I was on the phone with them for 4 hours the night before, literally 4 hours. It was just a clusterfuck of biblical proportions. But all's well that ends well. So you needed some good whiskey. Yes, exactly. So by the time we literally traveled for almost 24 straight hours. But from the time we left my house, drove, airports, flying, 3 flights, like 24 hours of travel. It was just, and then we got there at like 7 o'clock in the morning. And so that was our day in Barcelona. So thankfully, I did get some sleep on the flight. It was like 7.5 hours. And so I got some sleep. But yeah, it was funny because we got there and I think the excitement of getting there, first day of vacation, neither one of us had ever been to Barcelona before. So we had a great day. We weren't tired at all. And then kind of called it an early night. We went up to like the rooftop of the hotel, and they had a little bar up there, had a beer. And like, just when I started getting towards the end of the beer, I'm like, I'm shutting down. I'm powering off. And I told my wife, I was like, I'm going to be asleep in the next 20 minutes, whether it's at this table or in bed. And she's like, yeah, I'm getting tired too. So we just called an early night. We didn't set alarm for the next day because we didn't have to get up early. And we proceeded to fall asleep and sleep for 13 hours, which I don't think I've ever done in my life. So it was fun. Let's see. So you're saying you really need good whiskey. Yeah. Always fly Delta. Flown for work for years, and Delta has always been the best. Most of the time, and so bike riding Brian Vaughn is a fellow Minnesotan. Most of the time, my wife and I actually fly Sun Country. This is the travel show now. Because the destinations we go to, Sun Country being a local kind of Minnesota airline, what we like about them, we've always had good luck with them. We very, very rarely have any delays or any problems. Their customer service is really, really easy to get a hold of. You can call them and talk to a person. I know they're kind of seen as like a little more of a budget airline, but everything about them is good. It's a little basic, but what we like about them is their prices are much better. They always have direct flights to typically where we go domestically and sometimes internationally, like Mexico, Caribbean. They fly to a lot of those destinations. What I like about them is on their planes, they actually don't have a first class section, but you can pay to sit in the front row seats that do have the bigger leg room. And the most we've ever paid to do that is like $65. And so I don't give a shit about the first class amenities. I don't need a hot towel. I don't need a meal. I don't need the free drinks, because first class is always like hundreds of dollars. If not, if you're going international, sometimes thousands of dollars more. So what I like about Sun Country is for a very cheap price, you can actually pay to sit. And we always almost always end up sitting in the very front row, bulkhead seat, and have enough room to put our legs completely forward, stretch out. And we've never paid more than an extra $65 for that. So that's why we tend to like Sun Country. So you can get the bigger leg room. And the older I get, the more important that is. We did get the hot towel in the premium economy on the flight from Montreal to Barcelona. I did enjoy the hot towel just because it made me feel kind of cool. I have flown first class a couple times in my life, but that was just because my brother flies for work a lot and always has. And I was flying with him, and he gave me his upgrade. He got upgraded. Like, he would just go to the gate, and they'd be like, hey, well, we're going to upgrade you to first class. And he just gave me his seat, let me sit, and he went and sat in coach. So it pays to have an awesome brother is the moral of that story. But yeah, anyway, so enough of this travel stuff. I'm going to wrap it up here, folks, because I've got some more stuff to do yet tonight. But hey, thank you guys so much for joining. I really appreciate that you guys bother to show up for these things, especially when I don't do them for a while. I was just too busy before vacation, and then I was gone for vacation, and especially when I just post them way too late in the day to give anybody any notice. So for all you that showed up tonight, thank you very much. Please go subscribe to all the channels that were here tonight. Bad Axe Bourbon, Bourbon Drop, Bourbon School, Buffalo Bourbon Enthusiast. Who else am I missing? I know I came in late. Which stag is that? This is batch 15, batch 18, courtesy of Non-Bike Riding Dave Vogelsang, and batch 125.9 hand delivery from Bourbon School. Ben, it was great hanging out. Have a good one. Cheers. You too, Eric Ellis. Appreciate you guys. Excuse me. Tomorrow, oh, by the way, I don't have a Patreon drawing tonight because I haven't really bought any new whiskey lately. I will probably sample out that Old Huckleberry and the Members Mark. I know those are budget pours, but I thought they were both really good. And, you know, sometimes, like, getting to try something that's kind of budget friendly without having to go out and buy the bottle of it might be something that you actually want to go out and get. So I'll probably sample those out, but I'd like to put it with something a little better. And I just haven't really bought anything, and so I'll still get the 2 October Patreon drawings in. If you want to check out the Patreon, please do so. It helps out a ton. You get the videos early. I'm throwing out bonus content. I will be filming a comment section Patreon only video. If not tonight, within the next couple of days here, so look for that. And then tomorrow, look for the Middle West Spirits Stuff and Whiskey pick, courtesy of Dave Renstrom. So, folks, let me get my outro video sent here, because I added a new one today. All right. I will see you guys on the next one. See you on the Whiskey 6 tomorrow night at either, I don't know what time it is. Go search at the Whiskey 6, and there'll be a thumbnail for it. It's either 8 o'clock Central or 7:30 Central, I'm assuming. So anyway, cheers, everybody. Have a great night.